Today we're going to start talking about surface area. So, as usual, we're going to start with some vocab. Surface area is the sum of the areas of all surface or faces of a three-dimensional figure. Nets are a flat pattern that can be folded to form a three-dimensional figure. So when you take a three-dimensional figure and you fold it out flat. First, we're going to start off with finding the surface of a rectangular prism. So here on the left, we have a cube or rectangular prism. So each one of these right here are faces. So we have to take the area of each one of these and then we're going to add them all together. And of course we have the faces that are on the opposite sides that we can't see, but we're going to count those all in. So to do that, the first thing that we have to do is we have to take the front and the back. That would be the area that I highlighted in purple. Okay, and there the front and the back are going to be the same size. So to find that, we take 2 times the base times the height. Then we would want to find the top and bottom. Those are the ones that I have in blue. And once again, those would be the same size. So we would take 2 times the base times the width. And then the final one is our 2 sides. And those are the areas in red. And to find those, we would take 2 times the height times the width. So if we go back and we look at this, let's start with the front and back. I want 2 times the base times the height. So I would take 2, here's our base, which is 8, and here's my height, which is 6. So then I can multiply them out. 2 times 8 is 16, 16 times 6 gives me 96. Then I would go to our top and bottom. So that's up here in blue. So I want 2 times the base times the width. So 2, once again, my base if here is here to here, so it's the same as this. So it would be 8. And then I want my width, which would be here to here. So it's 7. So then I can take and I can multiply. 2 times 8 is 7, or excuse me, 2 times 8 is 16, and then 16 times 7 is 112. And then I move to my 2 sides, and that is 2 times the height times the width. So I would take 2 times my height, which is here, which is 6, times my width, which is here, which is 7. So then I would multiply those out. 2 times 6 is 12, 12 times 7 is 84. And then to find my total surface area, I take those 3 numbers and I add them together. So when I do that, I get a total of 292 meters squared. Remember, this is area, so it is meters squared or square meters. Now, finding the surface area of a triangular prism. We have our 2 ends, which when we were finding volume were our bases, it's the triangles. Okay, so our ends are the triangles. So we would take 2 times the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. Then for our sides, these are the rectangular shapes. So you would have this one, and then you would have the one on the bottom, which is here, and then you would have the one on the other side, which was here. So I have to do each one of those separately because they might have different lengths and heights, so we need to separate those. But the way you find them is you take base times height for each side. So if I go down here to the bottom, let's start with our triangular faces. So that would be the red triangles. And I start with my formula. So I'm taking 2 because there's 2 of them. One here in the back and one here in the front. And I would then multiply it times the base, which is 6, and the height, which it tells us right here, is 5, and then times the 1/2. So, working on the inside, I did 6 times 5 and got 30, and then 30 half of 30, or 30 times 1/2 is 15, and then I multiply that times 2, and I get a total of 30. Then, for each one of the rectangular faces, we do the same thing. So I'm going to start here with this one, and it's a rectangular, so we do base times height. So it tells me right here that my base is 7, and then it tells me right here that my height is 6. So then you take 7 times 6, and that gives you 42 for your first side. Then for your second side, you are going to do the same thing. So if we have this green side here, you're going to do base times height. So our base, once again, is still 7, and our height, once again, is still 6. So 6 times 7 is 42. And then for our third side, which is the bottom, you've got this, which I'm doing in blue. And so you do the same thing. You do the base of 7 and the height of 6, and you get 7 times 6 is 42. Then, once I've got all those, I can take and add all of them up. So I add my 2 sides, which is 30, and then my 3 edges, and I get 42 on each of those. So 30 plus 42 plus 42 plus 42 is 156 centimeters squared, or 156 square centimeters. So now, let's go through and practice. Let's find the surface area of this rectangular prism.